And let's continue on with the investigation, or the endless death parade, I guess. Slowly but surely, he opens his eyes. The ceiling, it looks familiar, yet completely strange at the same time. What is this place? This is heaven? After a short moment of doubt, he realizes how stupid a question actually sounds. How silly. Even if heaven and hell both existed, neither of them would look like this. Also, would there really be a place in heaven for someone this stubborn? This leaves only one conclusion. And once again, you're the last to wake up. A large face hovers Justin, grinning bitterly. It's Zach. It happened earlier than last time. No one got very far. So right now, it's morning again. Just tries to get up, tossing aside the blanket that covers him. This whole thing feels like sort of zombie game, you know? We're playing the zombies. No matter how often we're killed, we always come back. Doesn't sound that bad, does it? You can say it's an advantage. We can try it over and over again as many times as we'd like until we get it right. I guess. Thing is, are you sure we have 50 retries? Zach speaks quietly, pessimistic undertone in his voice. Still can't handle it anymore. Probably can't too much for her. Who knows which one's next? Wait a minute. What's that about Salil? Justin looks around the room, only noticing that Salil's never been seen. My guess, seeing my gruesome death must have gotten to her emotionally. Let's give her time she needs and leave her alone for a while. She hasn't spoken a single word yet. I wonder if some of this is a mistake on Yasmin's part. Zach, I couldn't see too clear at that moment. What happened to you that affected Salil like that? Just do me a favor. Please don't make me remember it. I want to erase that from my memory. I was powerless, like a coward. I was kicked around, beaten, torn up. I don't want to relive any of that ever again. I understand. Sounds like hell. Enough of that. Let's skip the topic. So what about the parts that I wasn't around to witness? What happened afterwards? Well, after you died, those creatures came rushing through the door. They barged into the room like a shifting mass of putrid flesh. The shots bounced off his back, and he took shocker from me. The others didn't manage to get very far. The flesh-like mass threw me on the desk, but I saw Dan shredding out of the room on the corner of my eye, carrying both Quinn and Liam's unconscious bodies. So you didn't manage to catch up to them? Hard to do that with a broken neck, buddy. My head was barely hanging on. Dan didn't bother me at all after that. It was either his overblown confidence, or maybe he just didn't want to waste his time on me. I just lay there and I lost the feel in my limbs, little by little. That's when things came to look at my blood. Neck is broken, but I didn't have made-up wounds, so there wasn't all that much of it. So they just left you to die? No, they crushed my body, wrapping around it, stepping on it, then squeezing out every single drop of blood inside of me. It didn't hurt, really. My whole body already turned numb at that point, but I could still see everything. I watched as they towered over me, squeezing my body so hard that my intestines burst. I wish I passed out a lot sooner. You're right, there's no time often we can endure this. I'm sorry, Justin. What a mess. Let's be real. If we keep doing things the same way, we don't stand a chance against Dan, do we? We can't take him on head on, and it'll take more than a few simple tricks and traps to win this fight. And also, how do we know for sure what creatures are on his side? Yeah, some more piece of the puzzle that remains unexplained. It looks no matter who stole the artifact, we can't get past Dan. If we don't come up with a solution, we won't survive till afternoon. Right, but what can we do? Everywhere we go, he shows up with those creatures in tow and murders us. He's always one step ahead, hurrying every plan we come up with. I never thought he had this kind of power. There's no way we could take him on with that little arsenal of ours. He knows everything about our equipment. Our weapons don't seem to faze him one bit. My shotgun blast to the back should provoke some kind of reaction, at least, if they are non-lethal wounds. Instead, he didn't bother turn around. And all that happened while Slil's taser wires were still hanging off his body. Yeah, it's no use. The guy looks like he's enjoying a warm shower, not like he'd be electrocuted and shot at. I guess it's the end of the line for us. There's another way. Oh, Slil, are you feeling better? Next time, just run away. Can you do that? Yeah, I mean, I don't want to leave you guys alone. I can't have you fending off from by yourself. I know I'm no match for him, but at least I can buy you some time, you know? Also, I said, can you do that? Yeah, got you, I can do that. Good. Never seen her look so determined. Where did this sudden fine spirit come from? Why are you asking me? She's right here, you dumbass. Slil, sounds like you had a plan. Did you come up with something? Yes. I think there's a way to keep Dan from interfering. Really? How? By doing nothing. Look, Slil, I'm sorry I exert your feelings before. I apologize, but that's not my plan. It is. I gave it a lot of thought while I was alone. After he entered Zach, Dan seemed almost ecstatic. He said something very interesting at that point. Yeah, come on. I'm only picking up from what's mine from those two lovebirds. Why it's hard for you to stay out of this. David's so wasteful of things they don't understand. Although that thing only has a few fragments left, a clear cover to make time travel's child's play. It's the sole reason for my existence. If you tamper with it, I will come back through time and kill you. Over and over again. Accept that and stay away from me. 3 years ago, back when Liam and Quinn were still in junior high school together, a strange illness broke out at their school. During their quarantine, both of them were exposed to a strange orb of light that drained them from their physical strength and made them collapse. An unordinary experience. You don't exactly run into strange orbs of light that drain you on a daily basis. By judging by what Dan said, the two of them somehow absorbed a small part of this orb? That's right. And when we take that into consideration, their involvement begins to make sense. So, according to Dan, this orb, this light, somehow enables time travel? I hate to admit it, but I can't say I'm surprised. He's always seemed to be going by a script, knowing exactly what's going to happen as if he's toyed with us. Time travel, huh? So he borrowed some of its abilities? And as long as he isn't fully satisfied with the way things are, he can always come back to this point in time and confront us. Exactly. That's why it's possible for two Dans to be active here at the same time. Even though his body at this point in time has Zach's souls in it, the real Dan has no need to worry about that at all, if the time travel method on the other side doesn't rely on the same kind of mental replacements. Which means he came back to his own body? But even so, is it really just okay to kill your past self? He didn't hesitate for a second. I didn't want to think about that. Something's seriously wrong with that guy's brain. I completely lost track. So many strange things have been happening now, and there's still all this talk about bending time. My thoughts are all over the place. You're right. Forget about my rants about time travel. After all we've seen, those creatures we faced, I don't feel for even bothering with physics and logic. Just lets out a frustrated sigh, while Slila extends her hand towards him. I agree with you, but why you want us to do nothing? I mean, what does nothing mean? I doubt a group sleepover at home will solve this problem. I have my own theories. Let me explain. They just tore apart the door, shattered to pieces. It took 3 whole years to make it usable again. There won't be another 3 years if we fail this time. That's why I've come back here to make sure the plan comes to fruition. Regardless of whether you or anyone else interferes, you understand now, don't you? During our last 2 attempts, we obviously caused some sort of disturbance. Something that irritated him enough to come finish us off. So you're saying if you die, anything is better than getting involved in this whole mess at school? He recognizes Zach and remembers you. You've only known Dan for a short time. In other words, he knows we're not who we're supposed to be at this point in time. If you experience time travel yourself, it's probably not hard to understand what's going on. Even if we don't understand the principle, the fact that we travel in time is obvious. So basically, as long as he keeps encountering and attacking us, he can't keep things moving in the direction he wants them to, that means that only time he isn't around is when nothing unusual is happening, meaning things are going according to his expectations. That's it. I hope he can keep up the act, feigning normalcy with our new approach. So we're abandoning all of our previous plans? I'm starting to feel really useless all of a sudden. Think of it, as long as we trust our own judgment, we're doing the right thing here. What happens after that? That's showing that scenario that the voice that took over Yasmin wanted, right? And this time, he is actually Zack already, so we can't really continue to feign normalcy. Yes, but I have another idea. Scylla suddenly grabs shoulder. She raises her head slightly, her eyes overflowing determination. The look on her face may seem real, but Justin's keen eyes can tell that's forced. Scylla is merely trying to keep up morale. However, he doesn't say anything, as he doesn't want to undermine Scylla's plan. It's a big risk, but it's the only way that we'll stand a chance against Dan without having to worry about his terrible strength. This is where we'll have our big showdown with him. We'll see through this mess to the end. I'm sorry, this night has been hard on y'all, but please, be strong. For us, none of us can do this alone. I'm asking a lot of you, Zack. Will you trust me? She's back to her old self. Her hands clasped behind her back, shy and silent. Even though he can guess what Scylla's plan is, a strange calm washes over him. Zack steps closer towards her, and the three of them form a circle. Justin repeats Zack's words in mind. I'm with you, I'll follow you, until the end. He's convinced Zack will soon have to remind himself of these words. It is Wednesday. We're not. The school festival eventually went ahead as planned. Dan has his hand on the steering wheel, as absent-minded as always. He's concentrating on his breathing, having learned long ago that once breathing is strictly linked to the mind. The behavior is rubbing off on everyone else without him even realizing it. Nico looks like she has a lot on her mind. I know separating her from her tech gadget makes her fidgety, but I've decided to take her along for the ride. Today's mission is quite risky, desperate even. Nobody at school can know about it. That is why I took Nico with me. She is able to put her expertise to use and control the flow of information. Things that are overwhelming to me are child's play in her eyes. Apart from that, Yasmin needs someone close to her own age to keep her company. Scarlett and I don't have time to spare, and Dan admitted himself that he'd be the wrong man for the job. Scarlett stays very quiet for the trip. I can understand that, since she's under a lot of pressure. The success of this plan depends on her acting skills, and if she slips up even once, it would have dire consequences. The only person actively moving around during the trip is Yasmin. She's constantly turning left and right, staring at the window with the innocent, curious look of a fascinated child during a road trip. Her joyous humming is somewhat drowned out by the oppressive atmosphere in the car. Someone once told me that time isn't always appreciated in the same way. A gambler's most thrilling moment are 3 seconds before the car is lifted. Only a few thousand milliseconds are etched into the nerves. Until then, sweat and fear are just bitter spices that make the meal more delicious in the end. Whoever told me back in the day was right, as I can't think of any better way to describe my current feelings. Just live one break, okay? There's 2 children in the car. Can you behave yourself? Jeez, you're already so stressed out, even though things haven't started yet. I don't care, it's fine by me. Just open the window. I shouldn't have considered Yasmin too. Hey, the air conditioner's on. As soon as you open the window, it's all over. Dan's reaction is slow, misses the point, and most of all, isn't funny. Everyone in the car ignores his comment. So, do you want to take a gamble today? Whether it works or not, I don't think the principal will be pleased. As the saying goes, it's better to ask for forgiveness and permission. I try to keep my expression calm. Although we exchanged information and the distributed tasks last night, I was told a couple things. Yesterday evening, another person the client sent to help didn't turn up. I waited at the meeting place for a long time, but eventually gave up. I haven't actually met this person, but I heard that he is highly experienced foreign scholar. In our line of work, the more you know, the less danger you're in. I've worked multiple cases and experienced quite a few things, but I've never claimed my knowledge to be sufficient enough to handle this on my own. Having an expert at my side will have helped a great deal, especially since it's clear that we're dealing with the supernatural entities here. His sudden disappearance makes me wonder if he'll be able to pull off this mission successfully without his help. Did he stumble upon something that put him in danger? None of these thoughts are pleasant, so I try not to dwell on too much. I have to adapt to the situation. I think everything through again, and then address the others to reconfirm our course of action. You're right, tail be a gamble. Don't forget that gambling requires great skill and preparation. I know stakes are high, and we're taking risks, but don't think I plan on simply sending you off to die. Okay, that makes confidence. Not. Count me out. No, same here. Oh, come on. Just do my best, and don't tease me like that. Anyway, remember yesterday's task execution. Prepare to try to catch a criminal, which, by the way, is a crime itself. It is indeed a crime. Furthermore, if it messes up, it could backfire, and we could eventually end up involuntarily helping the criminal. Judged by damage to the exhibition hall, it appears that perpetrators deliberately sabotaged the important equipment and removed the artifact with almost surgical precision. Regardless of their goal, they seem to have considerable playing skills. Scarlet's assessment is that while the perpetrators were to escape by the unimaginable means, their perceptual abilities seem to be similar to humans, since they were surprised when the door opened. If we find a way to create an utterly unexpected situation, we may be able to settle this whole thing before they can escape. To do so, we need to find a sufficiently attractive trap. It's not been the law the first time. Anyway, Dan and I will stay in the exhibition hall, and you, Nico, will be the ones to get the power. If the people around, I should be able to sneak in and disable the power, but yesterday you mentioned that there's a backup generator kick in pretty quickly, right? That's why you turn it off as well. In a way, that means that cannot be fixed again. If anyone can figure that out, it's you. It won't be easy. I'll be in charge of luring the guards out here, which should be fine if Dan can take care of them outside. I'll knock out the strongest one first. Can't have them making any noise that could draw attention. Come back here as soon as you're done. After an urgent negotiation with the prince under false pretenses, he agreed to leave some riot gear for us, which will be left in the guard's office for us to pick up. Due to the fact the school has employed security personnel for this occasion, they rather have professional equipment on offer: tasers, batons, and riot shields, and even a Remington shotgun with paint bullets. Honestly, I prefer to have a proper weapon with live ammunition for Dan, but I couldn't have explained the entire plan for the school. Using the paint to trace the location, the hidden exhibits is the most important part of the operation, as the whole process doesn't seem that dangerous. As things stand, I can only hope that the culprit is indeed as jumpy as the students say. The large footprints and the trail of destruction makes it dread going toe-to-toe. Nobody has time to worry about the pothole on the tennis court, even if it definitely is a simple crater. There aren't enough clues to prove anything right now, and we need this operation to be a success to get permission from the school to check out any further detail. Aren't you coming to see me perform? Yasmin probably doesn't understand what we're talking about right now. She looks up frustrated. When the operation begins, the little girl will be performing in the auditorium on the other side of the school, which will be the safest place to be at the time. Don't worry, Yasmin, the girls are busy, but Nico will come play with you when she's finished with the chores. I pat Yasmin's head, which seems to make her feel better. It'll be enough to give Nico an alibi. Taking advantage of a child like this makes you feel guilty, but at the end of the day, Nico's also a child who needs to be protected. Anyway, if the operation goes well, we'll have to pretend that the accident came as a complete surprise, and all that's left to pray is that Dan succeeds, and that paint will work as intended. It's amazing you're relying on smart technology, Manager. You've really changed. I'm just making the best of the situation. We didn't have enough time to find any spells or ritualistic signs, meaning our only alternative is the old-fashioned hunt. The question is, who's hunting who? I'm surprised you were able to talk to Quinn so confidently yesterday. I think there's more to it than just her being able to help. Confidence is key, or else we would do this at the end right now. One shouldn't have the heart to harm others, but must be vigilant so as to not be harmed. That's how that one goes, right? You might have misunderstood something there. Forget it. We'll talk about that later. Before we knew it, the school gates appeared in front of us. Time to do this. Be prepared. If things go according to plan, we probably won't get any sleep tonight. Manager, what did you just say? If things go to plan, we probably won't get any sleep tonight. Wait, what the hell? Something is seriously wrong. Nico and I are taking in the history building, which is brimming with people and 100 times more crowded than yesterday. I've got 2 here! Go! Go! What's the situation here? Is the structure big enough? Arrange for evacuees to get to the quarantine zone ASAP. What if we get infected ourselves? We're not sure about symptoms, so what's the point of worrying about it? Wait, look, say I free lift. I'll take care of that. Just go! Okay, I'll leave it in your hands. What's going on here? The unexpected turn of events makes me sigh and shake my head. This looks like a movie set. What did we get ourselves into this time? I understand what she must be feeling. I myself have seen such a scene in real life before. Police and doctors alike are swarming over the place, condoning off one area after another. The fine smell of disinfectant wanders up my nose. A white tanker truck is parked outside the window far back. Someone is rolling the hose up back just after having finished spraying everything with it. Many people in formal attire are bunched up together in clusters. Some of them lying motionless on stretchers. Some of them are sitting in the shade, their faces wider than the wall behind them. The visors came all the way just to see the expedition. Seeing the state that they're in just makes me sad. As is always the case, not everyone is understanding the situation. From time to time, angry shouts can be heard, and people on both sides of the blockade are engaging in heated arguments with the personnel. Please, what's gonna happen to us? Have doctors said anything? I don't have any information on that regard, I'm afraid. But don't worry, technology these days is so advanced, I'm sure they'll figure something out. When was this game written? Let go of me! You think I can tell what you're really thinking? You're lying! Please, calm down, sir. It's too— oh, it's a guy. Whatever. Please, calm down, sir. It's too dangerous for you to just walk in there right now. Cut the crap, get out of my way. My wife's still in there. Hey, get back here. Stop him! We have to catch a plane tonight. It's important business. If we miss the flight, we lose millions. Who will be held accountable for that? I'm sorry, sir. I'm sure once it's over, the institutions in charge of such matters will clear things up for you. For now, please remain calm and wait outside the venue. I don't like the sound of that. Are you aware that I'm worth more than this whole building? The smug businessman won't stop complaining, completely oblivious to the increased number of people suffering all around him. Nico puts him back and throws a question looking at me. I don't want to show up too early. Having said that, it doesn't make sense to wait for something to happen. I scratch my head, thinking, and decide to make a move. Howard sounds quicker than me. The artifacts that are on display here are centuries old, and they're probably worth twice as much as you. Be quiet and stop bragging. Also, if this turns out contagious, do you think the consequences of even one person getting out could be measured in money? Stop pretending that your petty problems matter right now. You would do well to listen to experts who are far more knowledgeable in this field than you'll ever be. Alright, I apologize. The healthcare worker seems accustomed to situations of this magnitude, and his precise gestures are uncompromising tone exude authority. Despite handling the situation very well, the man looks incredibly tired. It's pretty hot outside, and I can't imagine what it must be like working under such stressful conditions in an outfit like his. I don't want to get on his nerves or irritate him in any way, so I straighten up my shirt and leave Nico on her own for now. I make my way towards the man with a concerned look on my face. I'm sorry. I can't imagine how hard it must be working in this kind of weather. You have to be ready. Things like this don't operate on a fixed schedule, and you are? The principal called me. He ordered me back here. He said there's a big problem. I'm sorry to bother you, but I was hoping you may know more about it. I expect this sort of robbery or other disturbance, but nothing quite like this. People shouldn't be anywhere near this building right now. Is it really that serious? Listen, if you're the person in charge of this building, I'm afraid there isn't any more I can say. I'm sorry. This is just the reality of things at the moment. I smile bitterly and take a step towards him. Say, you really can't let me know what's going on in there? Even if it gets me in trouble later. Talking to him in secret has obviously had an effect on him. He doesn't seem to care much about who I actually am, and looks at the crowd behind him whilst tugging at his clothes. Once this is contained, we will send details over the school and report. But as you can see, we have an outbreak on our hands. An outbreak. What are we talking about here? A virus? Germs? We don't know yet. And the conditions won't allow us to do a detailed analysis on the spot. So far, the patient systems have been very strange. They aren't following the characteristic pattern of a normal outbreak. And what way would you say the system is strange? Just look at these people. Some of them are showing onsets of fever, while others are suffering from lower body temperature. They're sweating profusely and their limbs are weak, as if they were extremely physically exhausted and their bodies were shutting down due to the fatigue. Yet, there are no signs of inflammation or any serious impairment or other physical functions. It is completely different from a body's usual response to stress factors. So you're saying as if they don't have sickness at all? They seem to have been drained of all of their energy, which is a strange thing to say for someone like me, a man of science. But all of them are showing severe signs of exhaustion. If we use the concept of Chinese medicine as metaphor, I would describe it as their kai, I don't know Chinese, have been taken away. However, so many people are infected at the same time, but the security guards who initially came into contact with them are just fine, as are the people who were in contact with them before quarantine. The symptoms are developing at a rapid pace, yet the method of transmission remains unknown. It can't be in the air, otherwise we have a bigger crisis in our hands right now. It's also unlikely that it's transferred through touch. Even if that were the case, it would have never spread this fast. Collective hypnosis, maybe? No, that's too. He's lost in his own thoughts. His expression reminds me of an old teacher of mine, who always started biting his nails when dates and numbers regarding ancient cultural relics didn't add up. Today's events must be even enough to leave him completely puzzled. Even as a seasoned professional, I can relate. I point to the crowd near the blockade. I'm sorry, but would it be possible for me to ask them a couple questions? If it's not airborne, it's too dangerous. I just can't let you walk into a quarantined area. The doctor gives me a look and tells me I'm just doing this job. I pull up my phone and hand to him. Oh, I'm aware of that. Please, let them use his phone to talk to me. Electromagnetic waves will not spread diseases. I like your way of thinking. He raised an eyebrow, clearly relieved that I made things easy for him. Well, it looks like I could be some sort of help out to you after all. Hey Nico, let me in your phone. Wow, what a great idea. Not? Did you even think this through? You have to get it back afterwards. What if this thing is contagious? From what I gathered, I highly doubt how it spreads. We have a full-blown outbreak on our hands. Can you believe it? I pat Nico's head as she looks at me with wide eyes. The symptoms are the same one Quinn mentioned. Yes, you don't know that. You shouldn't know that. Alright. The symptoms are the same one Quinn mentioned yesterday. Something is going on. Way too people are coming down with it at the same time. He said that as if things are normal at this point. They definitely never were, by any standard. Well, why else could they have called us? That's what we're here for. Don't worry. You'll get right back in after. I take Neil's phone and dial my own number. Hello, are you the guy that wanted to ask us some questions? The nervous voice of the other end was that of a young man. He is most likely the same young man who kept inquiring about what was going on to him earlier. I speak to him calmly and politely as I can. Yes, that is me. I prefer to talk face to face, but I'm afraid the doctors can't allow that at this moment. It's fine. This is a difficult time for everyone. The doctors have it hard enough as it is. If I can be of any help, please let me know. Thank you for being understanding. I'll try to keep it short. Time's of the essence, and the scale situation surpassed all of our expectations. We have to understand what's going on as soon as possible. With that in mind, what should I ask him? Let's just go in order. I don't really care. Excuse me, but I have to ask. What happened here? Was something unusual going on before people started showing symptoms? Yeah, this is something unusual, quite describes it. Well, there was a sudden power outage just a few moments ago. A power outage? Electricity seems to work just fine right now. Yes, but the blackout didn't last long. You're taking a guided tour through the exhibition hall, but everything turned to darkness all of a sudden. If I had to guess, I'd say the outage lasted around 30-40 seconds. How peculiar. It sounded like a small detail at first, something that could have happened at any time. But taking account Nico's description of how the school's power network works, it seems strange that they recovered from the outage on its own. Many problems with the internal circuitry doesn't affect the external system. That would be a direct contradiction to what we discovered yesterday. It would mean that the backup power supply is a lot more responsive than we originally thought. Regardless, I can confirm that another unplanned power outage took place here. I take a mental note of that and urge the man on the phone to continue. And after the power went out, did anything strange happen? At first everyone was a little alarmed, but since we're all adults, nobody panicked or made a big fuss about it. Security told everyone to prepare for an orderly evacuation, so we were getting ready to walk towards the exit. But then someone I obviously couldn't see shouted, "There's something here!" And they sounded extremely scared. That got everybody's attention. Did you happen to see what that something was by any chance? I couldn't quite describe it. It was an actual thing in a physical sense, but I'll try. There was a multicolored ball of light floating above the largest display case at the center of the room. Ball might be the wrong way to describe it. I didn't catch a clear, fixed shape. It was constantly shifting, but it was still a three-dimensional object. It looked like one of those holograms you see in sci-fi movies all the time. Did this appearance remind you of anything? I mean, did it look like an object or an animal? No, there wasn't a living thing on Earth shaped like that. How can I put it? Its surface changed constantly, like a palette of mixed pigments, with colors I've never seen before that I could put a name to even if I wanted to. The colors changed at irregular intervals. The colors weren't floating around on its surface in a pattern. Wherever the color spread was, where it was shaped when, it moved pretty erratically. Nobody in the hall could tell what it was. Even security guards looked absolutely baffled. It was just floating there for a few seconds. And it didn't react to you either? No, that's until someone used a cell phone to shine a bright light on it. Then a burst of light that was so bright that I was afraid I was going blind. The light was so bright and hot, it felt as if the hairs on my skin were being scorched, even though I was standing right at a fair distance away from it. Everyone in the room was affected. When the lights came back on about 10 seconds later, people were gasping for air and many were lying on the ground, too weak to wake up. So what happened? I'll write that down. So that's what happened. I'll write that down. And since you've been quarantined, may I take the liberty of asking if you're also experiencing symptoms? Yes, I am. I'm barely have enough energy to talk to you while I'm sitting here. And if I try to stand up, I get dizzy immediately. I already collapsed multiple times when I tried. Could you describe your symptoms in as detailed a fashion as possible? Well, I'm not a doctor myself. There's some experts who I like to consult. Well, I can tell you the same thing I told the doctor. It's this overwhelming feeling of exhaustion. I can't even think of another way to describe it. Imagine having run 2 marathons in a row while someone forcing you to hold your breath. That's, well... wow, okay. I think it's beyond anything I could imagine. Tired, thirsty, dizzy, weak, that about sums it up. But others have it worse than me. Strange enough, the doctor said my body isn't showing any physical signs of strain or dehydration. As a matter of fact, I nearly threw up when I tried to drink the water they gave me. I couldn't swallow a single sip of it. Would you say a lot of these symptoms could simply be in your head? Your mind playing tricks on you? I can tell you this much. The overall fatigue is definitely real. Maybe everything else is just my body's way of reacting to it. There are indeed cases where high fevers are mental rather than physical origin, but I'm in no position to make any type of diagnosis. Yeah, it's okay, I understand. Anyways, someone else struck me as strange. I don't know if it's just me, though. What is it? Please go on. My hair seems to have grown. Your hair? It seems to have grown by at least a centimeter all of a sudden. I just recently had it cut. Is it possible for it to have grown in such a short period of time? Speaking of hair, I noticed some of the women's braided hairstyles suddenly looked somewhat loose. So maybe the same thing happened to them? That's a very interesting observation, and I'll keep that in mind. And if I may ask, why visit the history building this time of day? The event in the auditorium should be starting soon. Well, I have to be blunt about it. All the singing, dancing, and speeches are simply nowhere near as interesting as collections on display at the museum. So, you specialize in history research, which is somewhat related to archaeology. That's why I'm interested. Looks like the museum really has a lot of value to you then. Seeing ancient historical relics on display is a humbling experience, though the general public may not recognize their importance. People like you and me know how much appreciation these objects deserve. Few others too came here share my fascination, but some just randomly decided to drop by. It is, after all, one of the regular stops at the school festival. I'm sorry your genuine interest and appreciation of these relics ended up in such a mess. Don't worry about it. But, one more thing. This Meteran bronze bell and the reed condemnation were on display. Is there any particular reason for that? Huh. Well, you see, the school's power network has been acting up lately, so our strange conditions weren't the usual standard. Because of unfortunate turn events, we've temporarily arranged for the specialist to store them in a more secure location. I see. It's probably better that way. No, I have to say, it makes me sad not to have missed such an opportunity. I'm sorry your visit turned out this way. I really am. And you don't need to apologize. Well, I mean, to see them may even be considered selfish on my part. Displaying them like that always comes with such risks of damage. Something I could never condone as a passionate practitioner in this field of work. Thank you for your understanding. Now, there is something else I would like to ask you. Did you come here specific for this festival? Maybe with friends? I only got here today. I heard some of my old classmates arrived here just a couple days earlier to set things up. I'm ashamed to say, but physical labor is not one of my strong suits. I prefer reading. A few students from the class came, but none of them were here with me. I didn't see any of them in the quarantine area. Maybe they're watching the ceremony over the auditorium? How's it look from your side? Anyone you recognize? Well, I saw a few faces that I faintly recognized from classes and seminars way back, but there are people from all walks of life here. Really? I have to ask, why would that be important? I just wanted to check to see if it's be connected to some other things that have been happening at school lately. I'm afraid I can't be of much help in that regard. Just 2 days ago, I was still doing research in our city. I barely managed to make it here in time for the festival, so I didn't really have a good overview of what's going on and who's here. I see. I could just be overthinking this. Never mind. Let's see. Who else is there? Actually, that's everything I wanted to ask. Thank you for much time. You've been a great help. Take care. Oh, hell. What's going on? Any luck? They seem to have the same symptoms as the janitor Quinn told us about. At the time the symptoms started, a strange floating glowing object was in the room. It would be a dark cause. And none of the artifacts are missing? I haven't heard anything about that yet. Since I'm pretending to be in charge, the doctor naturally won't let me in. He assumes I already know about it. So... Huh? Something on your mind? No, it's nothing. There's no way we continue as planned our circumstances. I'll call Dan and let him know what's going on. Nico's phone starts ringing. I look down to see the caller ID. It's Scarlett. I'll take that. Wait a minute. She seems to suddenly remember something and looks at me nervously. Whatever it is, I already have the phone in my hand and answer the call. What's up? Justin, get over quickly. Wait, store manager. Yeah, it's me. We've got some problems over on our side. Don't worry. I'm with Nico. She's right next to me. You know what? Never mind. By the way, what's this about, Justin? I don't have time to explain to you right now. Just get to the library, quickly. It's urgent. The library? Does it have something to do with Yasmin? I don't say this, but Yasmin's missing. What? Nico arrived at the library. His crowd of people is staying outside. There are more police officers right now than I've ever seen combined over the last 10 years. The area is cornered off, and they're setting up a blockade that looks a little different from the one over in the history building. And all conversations are buzzing from walkie-talkies, and intercoms can be heard all around us. From time to time, a bright light flashes before my eyes, and a horrible thought crosses my mind. Could it be that Yasmin has... No, I don't think so. Scarlett steps closer as I'm on myself. Dan doesn't seem to be with her. Maybe was unable to make it in time. Did you two sprint over here? You're covered in sweat. I would have flown here if I could, given how serious you sound on the phone. So, what's with all the police? Does it have something to do with Yasmin? Well, it's too early to tell. They're examining the body right now. The victim is a security guard who was employed by a school. Someone found him in the back of the building after a short power outage in the auditorium. He was covered from the staff when checked fuse box. We can't ask anybody about Yasmin's whereabouts. It's too chaotic at the moment. So Yasmin just appeared during the blackout? To be honest, I'm not sure. I haven't been here long. I got here just before you did. When I heard that there's been a death in the auditorium, I rushed as quickly as I could to meet Yasmin, but I couldn't find anyone here. So she'd already been in danger before all this happened? Right about the time of her performance, too. I told her to stay in the auditorium and prepare for her performance. She's such a good kid. She would never just run off like that. So far, we don't know if anyone in her vicinity saw anything. I'll go over there and check things out. I hope it's nothing to do with, you know... Me too, but we won't know until I've asked around. What would you like to know? Well, I was gonna check to see myself, but made some clues I've overlooked. It's hard to be sure without checking them out yourself, Principal. I must say, you're really good at scaring people. You were simply lost in thought. Not that that's a bad thing, of course. I'd say that it's quite important trait for a man in your field of work. I'm afraid I cannot grant your wish. The police are quite meticulous in their work. So much so that I was even given the cold shoulder and prohibited from entering. Is security really that tight? I assume they're the reasons. It's a chaotic scene, and they're still in the dark about how it escalated so quickly. Oh, they're putting up a wall. They're actually putting up a wall of officers? I've only ever seen that during the riots. Since when do police react in such an extreme way? Nika peeks through the crowd, turning left and right in hopes of finding a gap. She zooms in on the scene with her camera's phone. Please pay a little more attention. A child should not experience this kind of scene. It's a burden I would like to spare my conscience of carrying. Don't worry about me, I'm here to help. It's not to be a burden. There is no reason to worry. As I mentioned yesterday, she's an expert. Give her some credit. He casts an apologetic look at Nico. The man, being principal of such a formal school, probably isn't used to kids as... Sure. No idea what the word means. Precocious? I don't know. Nico seems more motivated than her. Nico seems to be more motivated than usual. She's a lot less rude. something clearly audible in her tone of voice. It is not like her to pay this much attention to anything outside of her area of expertise. I'm sorry, come to think of it, how silly me to tell you to stop when I'm the one who hired you. If more than one crime is committed, we need to reconsider our whole strategy. We're hoping to gather more information here. I'm responsible for my companions and their well-being, after all. If I let them face a murder unprepared, that'll make me no better than a common criminal, wouldn't you agree? I most certainly would. And of course, I would like to hear your opinion on these events as well. I'd better introduce you to the officer in charge. He can legally permit you your help as an outside civilian. The principal throws me a look before I squeeze past the people around us and disappear in the crowd. I can check on the auditorium with Scarlet while you get an overview of everything here. If you get the chance, sneak into the area where Yasmin's bearing. With a show this size, it should be easy to find backstage and in the dressing rooms. Nico gives me a thumbs up, her back already turned to me, and walks away along Scarlet. Shortly after, Prince turns. At his side, a stern-looking, well-armed man. Let me introduce you to the expert we have hired. We are lucky to have him here for the festival. Sir. Maybe it's due to the exhaustion of having to carry his physical equipment all day, but he doesn't even attempt to be polite. He nods my direction. It must be difficult to get work done with all those onlookers constantly pointing fingers. I know the feeling. You're right. I appreciate your offered help. We can always use skilled people since this situation is obviously quite overwhelming. I don't want to take any more precious time then. Let's keep this short. Why are the security measures so tight? It seems like successes. We want to avoid any rumors from spreading. If any details about the scene of the crime got out, that would definitely cause a lot of gossip. So potential rumors are so bad that justifies this kind of manpower? It must be really bad. Officer, if you have time, could you please show him around the crime scene? He is very reliable and can be trusted not to get information. His knowledge could prove useful. The officer raised an eyebrow and looks at me. I can't help but feel like I'm under extreme scrutiny. I try my best to look confident, and he gives me the once-over, trying to show him that I'm an open book and I have nothing to hide. Well, you're the one voucher, Principal. He takes a look around to make sure another bystander is watching, and then shows the pictures of the scene on his camera. I understand his words a lot better now. This is absolutely no picture released to the public. The photo shows a man lying on the ground, or rather, a hideous mass of flesh shaped like a man. The man appears to be naked, and his skin is a shade of blue. His insides and muscles are nearly indistinguishable from one another, as if melded together. It looks as if he was crushed in a car accident, but with a lot less blood and guts thrown about. Although the body must have been relatively fresh, the blood beneath it has already spread out quite a bit. Seeing this instantly reminds me of something else we come across during our investigation. It looks like just having those cats and dogs. Cats and dogs? Never mind, I'll sing out loud. Well, the body does bear resemblance to cats and dogs that was run over in a traffic accident, if that's what you're implying. Though in this instance, I would have taken an 18-wheeler flat like that. He's probably talking about gigantic American trucks that eat up fuel and electricity like there's no tomorrow. If one of those had been making the rounds on this campus, the whole place would have looked like a Transformers movie set. I would have heard about that by now. So common sense dictates that the cause of death wasn't a humorous truck. Something else is going on here. I look at the photo more carefully. The notebook by the body. Oh yeah, there's a notebook by the body. I see because half it's blurred out, which... for this, honestly, I can understand. I don't think you want to actually show that, but... That's... A notebook is found next to the body. We have asked colleagues to take a look at it, and they confirmed that this is not his handwriting. And the contents are, well, my personal theory is that they must have acquired the notebook from elsewhere and then accidentally dropped it during whatever mess he got caught up in. So it couldn't have belonged to him. Well, handwriting can be altered on purpose. The deceased's no behavior leading up to death makes me doubt that this crazy. He was this crazy. That sounds ominous. What exactly was written there? Is it that bad? We've already bagged it and taken evidence, so I'm afraid there's no way for you to have a look at it. However, it only has a few pages, and we take photos of them. He looks for another picture on his camera, and then shows me the photograph pages. The handwriting isn't so much made of words as his weird assortment of scribbled, filthy strains, granting me a glimpse into the shattered psyche of whoever wrote it. The longer I look at it, the more clearly I can understand the actual words are written down here. At least I'm not dealing with the crazy occult symbols for once. So it's a diary? The author didn't deliberately keep track of time, but it looks like these notes are on various events, not necessarily in chronological order. Whoever wrote it seems particularly fond of taking notes themselves. More words are crossed out than left readable. I grab the camera to get a closer look at it and read everything bit by bit. Everything is sunny. Nothing unusual. No rain the whole day, and it's hotter than expected. The infiltration plan worked well. He was easier to talk to than I thought he would be. I traded some groceries for the key to the side door. As long as I carry out my drawing board and paint, students won't suspect me. Remember, don't be afraid to start a conversation. They're just curious as to what this artist is up to. However, there's a real point of a student who's not easy dealt with, so stay away from him as possible. He looks like this, do not forget. Sunny, nothing unusual. Not much rain down here in the south this time of year. That's bad news. I haven't had any luck lately. The guy didn't go behind my back, did he? I knew this was going on to get me in trouble. I don't know what drove me to trust him in the first place. Maybe he's trying to bluff me into such a high asking price. What's to come this far? Let's stay a few more days. It's not like there's anywhere else to go. Remember, there's nothing on the south side. I checked 3 times already. Cloudy, nothing unusual. It looked like it was gonna rain, but the rain never came. How frustrating. Students say that they saw some strange moving around, and dead animals have been found horribly disfigured. No flesh was eaten, but the blood was sucked from them. It fits the profile. Chances are high that they are around. I didn't explain their presence to the students. What happens to them and where they live or die isn't important. It should have stayed longer. I need to see with my own eyes before jumping to any conclusions. Cloudy. There was a heavy downpour yesterday, and today the air is exactly as documented in the article. I have to remember this. I think I know where they are. They are been animal carcasses near the warehouse on the north side. I heard them today. The article description of the sound they make was wrong. It wasn't a grunt. I heard a strange clicking noise instead, a deep penetrating sound. They must have exceptional lung capacity. I didn't have the guts. God knows how dangerous encountering them face to face would be. I wanted to, but it sounded like I was fighting something. There was no chance of getting closer. The sound coming from there was strange. It was like a bloody meat being slapped around, tissue being torn apart, and I heard strange words being chanted. But none of what I heard makes any sense to me. The fight continued for a while, and then a soft, buzzing sound came from the mountains to the north. Immediately after that sound, all movement stopped. It was like a referee had blown his whistle. They're not taking orders for something, are they? No, that's impossible. Nothing of that nature was mentioned in the article. I'll remember this and go back later to confirm my theories. I can't believe it. They may have intelligence, not to disagree. Nothing is right. Nothing is as it should be. How long has it been since I heard them moving? 3 days? 5 days? Was this supposed to be a success? Things weren't supposed to be this way. They should still be here, somewhere. I purposely led some stray cats into school, and it wasn't for long that they ended up dead. But I could never see them. They only hunt their prey when I'm not looking. Is it really necessary to use bait? The article mentions that they can have their own twist preferences, but what is it about the school that draws it to it? I remember this. Whenever I think of, I near remember all of it. They are fighting something. I need to keep eyes on their enemies. What a genius idea. I remember this. It looks like it's easy to attract those things, albeit dangerously. But I won't get there without taking any risks. Listen closely. I need to get to the cottage. In deal? I don't think any human on Earth could ever successfully decipher what he wrote in the last paragraph. It's scattered across paper like someone suddenly interrupted them during the writing process, or his brain decided to go haywire in the middle of it. As you can see, the author's mental state is highly concerning. I think you need to take into consideration that there might be another person involved in this whom you should arrest. Definitely. Well, that's the wrong comb. But whatever. That's comb. Well, definitely. We'll come to the whole school thoroughly to find whoever... No, it is comb. Never mind. That is the right word. That's my fault. I just was not expecting the word comb. Because I would never use comb in that sentence. Or in that context. But alright. Definitely. We'll comb through the school thoroughly to find whoever's responsible for this. He pulls up pictures of the murder scene on the camera once again. I hope that's good enough. As stated initially, the victim's body looks like it's been squashed under extreme pressure. Needless to say, the body is bizarrely deformed. The skin facing the ground looks flayed, and it's as if the concrete floor rubbed into the open like sandpaper. But there is something that isn't quite right about the victim's body. I lean to take a closer look and finally realize what's been bugging me all along. With its head twisted like that, its spine must have been broken, right? The pressure from the back of the neck that forces it forward is what eventually causes it to break. This has been observed at archaeological sites from time to time. Unfortunate people from all areas who had an accident during the construction project, or were caught in natural disasters such as landslides, often end up with broken spines. Yes, it is twisted and broken in a few places, but I think a photo makes that pretty obvious. What a sorry state the body's in. Looks like the poor guy will have quite a difficult trip to the morgue. Say, it's definitely clear that the deceased is a campus security guard. It's kinda hard to tell with the skull flattened like that and the whole face reduced to a pulp. He had a tattoo on the back to help us identify him. He was a former prisoner who was reintegrated into society. He took his job very seriously and had his heart in the right place from what I've heard. What a cruel fate. According to his work schedule, the place was indeed part of his patrol route for today. Still, the location he was found in as remote, and we have no idea why he would walk around behind the auditorium. Maybe stumble upon something before he's killed? Hard to say. We need to investigate further before we jump to any conclusions. I agree. And what's this about? It looks a bit like... I point to the ground on the photo. There are heavy marks, almost forming a dent of sorts. A small sign with a number on it. Marks that couldn't ordinarily be left on a concrete floor. Whoever made them would either have to be possessed in human strength, or an incredible set of teeth. It seems almost impossible that a fight that caused such destruction could have been taken without anyone noticing anything. We interviewed the people on patrol duty. Nobody saw anyone carrying any heavy tools or anything else that would have been used as a weapon. Right. And the janitor in charge of maintenance had no idea about the marks, since the auditorium is often used by off-campus personnel. These checks are delinquently on a regular basis. Everything is checked thoroughly on a weekly basis. Something of this size wouldn't have been missed. So all signs point to this damage being recent. Exactly. Here's what could have caused it. The velocity needed to cause such damage is insanely high. There are no cracks or signs of corrosion around it. The precision makes me think that we aren't dealing with mindless destruction. I doubt whoever did it brought a pickaxe along. Are there any eyewitness accounts? Sometime before the incident, a witness saw him and another person enter that room, looking very nervous. However, we've yet to find anyone matching that description. That's why we need to seal off the campus to keep the culprit from slipping away. That explains why everything's blocked off so tightly. Okay, let me have a closer look at something else. The blood is dark red and has dried somewhat. Some of it is still sticking to the horrifically bent limbs. There's a strange mark around the edges. It's faintly blurred around the area. It's in direct contrast to a totally dark area where it's formed a cluster. Squeezing blood from the human body wouldn't leave such clean spray marks. No. It's a mess sight, but they are dealing with some details that catch my attention. Several circular bloodstains are scattered beyond the splattered pools of blood. They are vaguely lined up a straight path. The blood splatters vary in size, the largest being about the size of a textbook, while the smallest is only the size of a thumb. The further away from the body they are, the smaller they become. After a 2-meter radius, they slowly fade away and disappear. There's one thing I can say with absolute certainty. These are not human footprints. Where's the trail lead? Northeast, around the warehouse and up to the mountain behind the school. We've seen people up there already and found no similar footprints or further traces of blood. There's a high wire fence that should be difficult to climb over. Yes, and there was nothing indicating that anyone was ever there. It's as if the killer just simply vanished. Damn, and there's no surveillance footage or anything? No, otherwise we wouldn't be digging through dirt like primitives looking for traces right now. The security footage in the control room is completely garbled for some reason. I see. That's something else I'm concerned about. So far, the signs point towards electromagnetic interference. We'll have to wait for our technicians to finish their analysis for a real answer. I understand. The officer doesn't urge me to hurry up, granting me as much time as I need to analyze photos. I doubt it's because he's a nice guy. My guess is that he's doing it out of respect for the principal who's standing next to us. I can't seem to find anything else in the photos that jumps out to me. That's about it. You know what we know. We can't rule out suicide and an accident. All signs... Well, we can rule out a suicide and an accident. All signs point to homicide. But we are lacking a murderer and a motive, so things are unclear. A suicide wouldn't be this extreme, and the physical evidence points to an event far too precise to have been an accident. Am I assuming that's the assumption? Precisely. The bloodstains sure make it look like it was an intentional attack on him, but looking at them doesn't provide an explanation as to why exactly it happened at the scene. There aren't really evidence for anything yet, right? At the moment, they're one more part of the puzzle that we need to solve. You got your work cut for you then. I hope the principal is fine with borrowing your expertise. We need someone reliable to work on this with us. Well, I'm in no position to make the decision for them. Feel free to contact me whenever you come across something that could prove useful. Having seen his photos, there are a few things I would like to get to the bottom of. How about it? Any ideas? Not a lot, I'm afraid, but at least I have a general overview now. Well, anything's better than nothing. Then we'll hear from each other again later. I can't abandon my post too long. I hope you understand. Of course, thank you for your time. The officer bows out slightly and puts his camera away before leaving in a hurry. So, how about that general overview of yours? Do you know which pieces of information to look for? I wish. If you have any idea where to start, please let me know. Oh my, that sounds starting. Well, at least I have some insight now, and so was all for nothing. The bizarre murder bears a strong resemblance to the animal killings on the campus, although I have to admit, this one's a lot more extreme. The manner in which he died, and those frantic ramblings in the notebook, both point towards this being beyond the bounds of human imagination. Speaking of notebook, The last part about bait, I have a bad feeling about that. This is going to be a tough case to crack, I'm not going to lie. I see. Principal, could we continue this discussion somewhere a little more private? I look at him with the most serious expression I can muster, and wink at him. Do we have to? Such long walks are tedious. If we want to keep it secret, I'm afraid we'll have to take every precaution we can. Prying eyes are everywhere. This includes members of my own team. Something I avoid saying out loud, of course. I want to avoid all the people crawling about this place because of the active investigation, so I picked the most isolated spot I can remember. Dan's been here before, but he should meet up Nico and the others right now. There's no need to worry about any potential eruptions. Okay, this place should do the trick. We're the only ones here. And exactly why I come all the way out here. Because there are some questions that need answering. I cast a serious look at him. If this involves shady business, the fewer people know, the better. It's for your own good, too. I don't know what you're talking about. Tell me the truth, Principal. Who is after the treasured artifact of yours? Who? What do you mean? You heard me. I demand a proper answer, or else I don't see any sense in continuing this investigation. Please, stop. Please explain yourself first. Think it back. This whole job was sketched in the very beginning. An artifact was stolen, and a regular thief who would usually get as far away as possible and find a place to sell it. You, however, are somehow convinced that the culprit will return, despite the place being so crowded. I can understand your desire to recover the artifact, but no matter what else they want to steal, doing it during the school festival is the dumbest possible time for it. Anyone with more intelligence than a mouse would pick a different time. From what I've gathered, the school may have been home to strange creatures for quite a while already. We have learned from what the students that the strange signs of vandalism have been turned up more and more frequently. You somehow failed to mention any of that during your job offer. Strange holes have been turning up all over campus and have been fixed on a regular basis, but you obviously don't care about any of that, do you? There's a matter of the animal carcasses, and if not for the well-meaning student who revealed that to us, we'd still be in the dark about that. It doesn't seem like the school cares about this potential threat to the safety of your students. Am I right? I'm a busy man. I have all my hands. Save it. What I found during my investigation and the description we were given at the beginning of the job are completely different. It has been going on for at least half a semester, so this isn't a recent development. In other words, you've had plenty of time to get to the bottom of this, yet for some reason, you decided to wait until the hectic days of the school festival? Like, you never asked for anyone's help before that? I wonder why that is. What is that made you call us for expertise at the very last moment, with things already being so chaotic enough as they are? Now, I don't mind a challenge job per se, but it seems like you deliberately didn't leave us enough time to prepare any appropriate countermeasures. Or were you simply hoping we have enough time to prepare from the very beginning? You're thinking about this too much. You're caught in the web of paranoid thoughts. The fact that you didn't manage to track down the artifact remains... So please, don't pretend to be all high and mighty. Hey, don't underestimate my professionalism work ethic like that. I chuckled softly while I pulled a taser. Ugh. You should see your face right now. Calm down. It's not even powered on yet. Now, something else is bothering me. Setting aside the fact that it's illegal for civilians to purchase them, those tape bullets of the shotgun are extremely rare, seen as they're imported from abroad. Our resident expert for those assured me that that was the case. And I have no reason to believe he's lying. So, why would you go to such great lengths and to rush things to get ready for us? What were you expecting us to need them? The first time I've met him, the principal's perpetual smile disappears. He stares at me intently, and thick drops of sweat start running down his face. Within a few seconds, he goes from being cheerful educator to a grim and troubled middle-aged man with a heavy heart. I don't try to push him, but chose instead to wait patiently and take a deep breath. Make sure to pressure him by staring straight back at him. My patience pays off. The stolen reed Condempium? I don't know. The stolen reed Condempium has questionable origin. You can tell me. The stays between us. I hope you keep your word. Well, despite the claims of it having been an archaeological excavation, The history of this ancient scroll is a bit more complicated than that. 3 years ago, a foreigner came from out of the blue and asked me if I keep two artifacts I've never met him before. Nor had I heard of the research institute that he supposedly belonged to. He didn't even make an appointment with me, my secretary. He showed up my office out of nowhere. He didn't agree to requests at this time. The history building has a reputation to uphold, and no matter how valuable the artifact is, I couldn't even be sure the legitimacy of the whole matter. His identity being such a mystery only made me more suspicious of it all. The reaction seems unnatural. I refused him multiple times, and he still stopped insisting. He just said, "It's okay. You'll always say yes in the end," and left quickly. A day later, one of our graduates announced the discovery of 2 artifacts and decided to transfer them to our custody. It's the first time we've received the artifacts of that nature. Nor are they the most valuable, but they happen to be the most popular area of study these days. So it caused quite a stir for a while. I mean, these aren't items you could sneakily get rid of. I asked the graduate about them in private, and he guaranteed him full confidentiality, but he kept insisting that he discovered them on his own, and that he knows nothing about the foreigner. I'm not sure if that's the truth or he's plain dumb for whatever reason. What if someone stole the artifacts from him and tried to bring him to school? Why does that sound like a possibility? We're not even considering for now. In fact, things only get much weirder from here. Weirder? How? In less than a week after we received artifacts, the graduate who sent to us ventured out into town and was found by a lake. He hung himself. You can imagine the consequences of such a drastic and unexpected development. I was bombarded with questions from all sides. The stress gave me a stomach ulcer. It was then that the foreigner's son appeared again. He showed up my office, found an appointment once again, and even the security guard couldn't tell me how he got inside. I take his reappearance was related to the artifacts? Yes. He wanted to make a deal with me. A deal? Yes. He said we safe keep those 2 artifacts from for 3 years. As long as we didn't arouse any suspicion, he wouldn't tell anyone about the true origin. He had evidence, although clearly forged, of me threatening to the graduate to hand over the records of those artifacts. And you couldn't refuse in light of the graduate's death. In return, until he showed up to retrieve them again, we were forced to keep them safe and in pristine condition. So I took the deal. I never had a choice at the time. Keeping those artifacts wasn't much of a problem, but returning them when they were due is different. Regardless of the actual state of affairs, their officially recognized discovery is still the graduates. I couldn't certainly hand them over to a stranger. And that was 3 years ago. So this year he wants them back. To be precise, today's the deadline. I spent 3 whole years trying to get various academic luminaries to agree to cover for me. Now the artifacts are in the school's possession. It'd better to ruin my reputation than to hand them to that stranger. You would actually do that? You'd be held accountable for a crime you didn't commit? That would follow you for the rest of your life. It's where I draw the line. I can't in clear conscience compromise my integrity as an academic. These are values I hold dear. If what you're saying is true, you deserve respect from one academic to another. Oh, Eureka. Interesting, okay. Alright. Thank you for my understanding, but in the end, this is my way of trying to make myself feel better about it all. When I put that in the news, I was going to display these 2 artifacts at school festival. Well, that smells sort of strange signs began to appear around the school. First, staff felt ill, and the wild animals kept dying around the school. After that big hole appeared in the tennis court, people reported hearing strange snickering sounds coming from the mountains. And now, most recently, there have been reports about vandalism, like you said yourself. Now, the Reed compendium was stolen as well. Yes. Now, I don't know how he could have possibly pulled that off. He won't stop before he has the last remaining artifact. Can you elaborate on that? It seems as if This is just preparation for what he wants. One artifact that is still in Skull's possession. Also, both artifacts are of great importance. That's what he told me himself. Do you think they may have been useless on their own? That one might not work with the other? Maybe. I'm wrong to ask. All I know is that I can't afford another loss. That's why I employed your services. Recovering the artifact will be the ideal outcome. Since you're experts, I wanted to assist you to the best of my abilities in apprehending the man and place him under arrest, no matter how many devious tricks he may have up his sleeve. Still, there's no reason for you to keep all that in from us. I'm sorry. I had to do this, or else the pressure for you to arrest him straight away would have been too high. I didn't want that to focus on the job. At least, now I have been thoroughly briefed, finally. What's done is done. I'll compensate you in whatever you deem appropriate, I promise. Will you see this drop through? Well, you know, I did best to avoid his glaze to collect my thoughts for a moment. He spilled a lot of details just now. The fact that they keep all the secrets doesn't exactly inspire confidence. It's hard to trust someone like that. We've already collected a lot of clues, and finishing the job isn't the problem here, but I feel like it's more to all this. Why is it doing that all by itself? I'm not touching the controller. What the hell was that? Oh, okay. I can't say I expected it, but it seems like my most troublesome guesses hit the bullseye. Sadly, this is often the case. I never thought we were dealing with a common criminal, but it's just frustrating. This is too much power for one man. What's there to gain from it? Why would anyone want to attract the kind of attention? I understand Prince's decision. The school is dear to him. He has to make the best choice in order to preserve this place in its integrity. It's a heavy burden for him to carry, a responsibility entrusted to him by those supported him as a leader. But the line between right and wrong is often blurred. These artifacts may have been highly valuable, but hiding them for a stranger, an unknown source, is highly questionable. That's more like morally devious concealment rather than safekeeping. However, this moral dilemma has been pushed into the background and replaced by a far graver scenario. Judging by seeing this burglary, it's clear that the thief used inhuman means to recover his lost property, and the consequences are certainly far more dire than the school's losing face for having the artifacts stolen from them. I can't imagine to begin how the principal must have had suffered in silence for the past 3 years. Having just learned about this deal he was forced to make, new questions are swirling in my mind. If the culprit is something other than human, and many signs point to that being the case, then there are more urgent issues to consider right now. The notes that the police discovered at the murder scene clearly state that there is more than one suspect, which I find to be a most troubling discovery. Judging from the author's tone, he had been pursuing the investigation for a long time, lending credibility to his theory despite his obvious descent into madness. However, the notebook's author seems to have died a while ago, leaving me to try to decipher the meaning behind what he wrote. Why did he write that mysterious visitor hand over the 2 artifacts to the school for safekeeping 3 years ago? And what could possibly make him go to such lengths to recover them after giving them away in the first place? What bizarre dangers wander around school, in the shadows? The veins in my forehead are already bulging from thinking so hard. My instinct tells me that whatever stumbled across here is far more dangerous than we have ever anticipated. It's been hiding in its true face from us, remained obscure behind a veil of fog. Impatience is only a failure. I often have to remind myself that. I inhale the fresh air and let my mind and body become one while I contemplate. Anyway, I should focus on the problem that we solve first. Apart from today, I've already witnessed more than one strange occurrence at school. If I piece things together, I'll be able to avoid any potential danger in the subsequent investigation, even if I can't necessarily discover the person behind it. Apart from the thief who stole the Reed Compendium, what other strange things have happened at school? Well, I start with this one. Nope, it's gonna do it again. Alright. I wonder if, when they playtested this game, if these were just completely way too hard, and they're like, and just didn't make any sense, that they're like, screw it, we'll just do it automatically. That's the only thing I can think of. That, or they didn't want to write any failure dialogue, or if that was failed, and this was the easiest way to do it, I guess. Because I don't know what happens if you actually fail. I mean, I guess I did fail one, but we instantly undid that by reloading a save. But yeah, weird. I have no idea. Anyways, that seems to make sense. So we'd leave a trail like that. A giant humanoid creature that specializes in digging, coming and going without a trace except for bright flashes of light. An inscribed cloud of light that can be explicitly drain a person's energy and causes them to feel utterly weak and fatigued. And being an unknown being that crushes both animals and humans to death with ease, and it's perhaps to disguise its whereabouts in some way. Either one sounds bad enough on its own. I don't know what I did to deserve having to go up against all three at once. These clearly are not common criminals. Today's events provide further evidence of the threat they pose. Particularly, the last one scares me. Being able to camouflage itself is some makes it highly dangerous. Fleeing such a messy scene after having caused such damage without anyone noticing is a terrifying ability. The police have been unable to find the other person who entered the room with the victim. Why did it be so professional? I can't help but curse on my breath. In any case, it's important to keep an eye out for anyone suspicious, since we have no way of fighting back yet. I should keep my distance, if I wouldn't say anything unusual. One question remains. Although the deal was made 3 years ago, with all the strange occurrences started happening recently, a clear sign that he's returned to collect what he considers to be rightfully his. Whether the others are in compliance that he brought along, or simply a third party, attracted by presence, there is enough evidence to prove that the two artifacts are of more than simple archaeological value. I've seen the other artifacts in my line of work that were highly esteemed, but most of them are just self-depictions, filled by superstition or evil people using them to their advantage. It's a waste of time and energy. Most of the time just employ one big scam to get a lot of money. By now, I no longer expect anything to be original. Nearly everything that is supposedly of priceless value these days has turned out to be a forgery. Unfortunately, I seem to the jackpot this time. These two are the real deal, but what exactly are they being used for? Did it fail the automatic? What? Game? I'm not touching the controller. Can I really solve this problem with these clues? No, that doesn't explain it. Well, I got the achievement for collecting all the evidence in the game, so I have the clues. What are they really trying to do here? Can I really solve these clues? I'm gonna guess not. Because the auto script can't. And we failed. I should have made a save before this. Where is our current autosave? Well, there's nothing I can do there, so... That's the autosave. I don't know. I think it's intentional. And if it's not, I can skip through the dialogue. But, like, there's nothing I could have done there. The game auto completed it, and I failed. So, there was a solution. So many thoughts are racing through my mind in ways I never experienced before. Wait. But this... sounds like you've at least seen a sequel with your own eyes. You have an intuition telling something bad, something I don't want to come true. See all it sounds tired with your eyes. This is the future. And yeah, that's the bell that we've seen a few times now. However, there is a eyewitness who claims disruption they saw. This is the future. This hasn't happened yet. How do we know about the future when we're the store manager who doesn't know about the future yet? So something interesting, would that be the light have binded them? That's half right. Yeah, I've already read this. It's very unclear and obscure, and if you ask me, the shadowy silhouette. As by the inside, remember, I was looking for more information, but the information found me instead. Wait, what do you mean? Do you see for yourself? Not quite, but the number of sightings reported, however, none of these were accompanied by bright, explosive flashes like the initial one. Anything else? Actually, there is. I drew a small bell that of possession. I seriously hope that you remember this particular piece I'm referring to. Though I place my trust in you, I still worry about my sight. On a rare occasion, I can't say I ever expect to see that you want something back. Do you mind telling me what's so special about this thing? Have you taken a good look at it? I'm afraid that without specialized knowledge, it's possible to discover the mystery of this treasure. The value of its knowledge is infinite. You know that. That was... I'm willing to bet everything that I own. I've never experienced any of those memories myself. Yet they all look so incredibly real that I have a hard time convincing myself of that fact. Who is that tall, slender foreigner? Why is there a bronze bell there? When has that ever been in my possession? Also, there's notes again. No, Professor, is something the matter? No, it's nothing. I can't afford to rely upon my illusions as a source of information. That would be ridiculous. The situation right here and now, and the existence of those two artifacts, requires my undivided attention. However, I lack basic understanding of the Murderous bronze bell and the Recondendium. And even those images that are flashed through my head just now didn't tell me what purpose they served. There's no way of learning about them with the current information. I must persuade the principal to allow me to study the main artifacts in the history building again. I'll mull it over and carefully think about how I should phrase my next question to convince him. Also, I'm getting more frustrated when I suddenly hear an ominous electronic ring in my ears. The principal looks shocked as he pulls the alarming loud phone from his pocket. Oh yes, what is it? The fear in his face becomes even more pronounced. Okay, I understand. I'll be right over. Stay at the scene and check the surveillance footage. We should have it on camera this time. Well, just do it. Then do it quickly. Why does it keep happening? All the bad luck at once. Something else happened? Yes, and I'd like to thank you for coming out here and talking to me. I'm afraid it really is all over now. Huh? Hold on, do you mean moments ago, the bronze bell was stolen as well? What? People started fainting all over the place outside the museum? Wait, all over the place? Only people who visited the museum should have seen it then, right? What do I know? You're the man with all the solutions, aren't you? No way, the doctors have gathered around at once at the schoolyard, and where there's plenty of room to arrange stretchers and other means of transport. Which seems even they're starting to show symptoms. Take me there. Red and blue lights are flashing in front of Zach's eyes. He can see a growing number of people gathered at the school's gates. They're being driven back by stern orders to stay inside the school grounds. This isn't what any of them expected. It isn't even the kind of accident that they expected, let alone the situation. The situation might even be beyond the skills of their trusty manager. He doesn't like this. Hey, the police seem to be closed off the road. Is this really okay? I don't know. It feels like being trapped inside school. Calm down, they've probably dealt this kind of situation before. It's just a bunch of security guards. I'm sure there's a way of getting this all sorted out. I guess you're right. Justin, are you against the phone? The key now is not to deal with the group, but what will happen afterwards. The boss hasn't done anything so far. There's no way a situation could have set him up for the future as Hermitage. Be careful, there must be a reason behind it all. Anyway, what's going on with the school gate? The police are hurrying people towards the schoolyard. Things have gotten pretty heated with the doctors, but I didn't know any details. Is it really because of a murder? Let's get everyone under control first so no one's stealing information. This place is rough enough for law enforcement as it is. Oh, what about Yasmin? We can't just leave her here, can we? How should I know? Hell, things are crashing on top of us. What should we do? Damn, I have no idea. Just Scarlet turned to the auditorium upside down in their search for Yasmin, but didn't have any luck. This is a completely one-sided boxing match that begins in the 4th round, with Noble coming back, making the pain even worse. At that moment, Justin joins the conversation. All we do is hold on. Liam hasn't even met us yet, and Quinn is busy with their own business. As long as we keep it that way, Dan shouldn't be a problem. We avoid the worst-case scenario. Let the store manager take care of the rest. I still don't want to give up just like that. Is there anywhere else we haven't looked yet? The mountain. Other than that, we'll have to look outside the school grounds. I see. I'm thinking that if we could find her again, those 2 students wouldn't necessarily be with her, would you? Would they? I know. Come on, let's get the show on the road. Leave it to me. I'll see you later. Now what the hell is this about? There you are. I had a hard time finding you. Huh? Manager, what are you doing here? I was gonna ask you the same thing. Follow me. Where to? The mountain. Surely it's come to his own conclusions. He always seems to attract certain kinds of events. By the way, bring the weapon we borrowed. I have a feeling I might need it. Carrying that openly, you have some nerve. That's right. Just hold it in your hand. Even if you're stripped naked and run around naked, no one would stop you right now. As if they could stop me, but I'm not going to do that, just to be clear. Also, there's also this. Have a look. There's some kind of blue capsule. Zach takes it and examines it. The capsule doesn't seem to have any markings on it, but a little bent, as if we're handmade. This looks familiar somehow, but I can't remember why. Huh? Magic potion. Does elixir look like that? It's adrenaline. Diluted. The effect of oral aspiration is very poor, but it's better than nothing. Then again, you made it for me, so why didn't I explain this to you? Huh? There's a lot going on lately. I'm just a bit confused. I'm afraid you're always a bit confused. You forget the most essential things. Oh, whatever. Why did you suddenly think of using it? What's next? All the patients who showed up at the history building look like they've been drained dry, and I don't know what happened to them. We definitely can't afford to slack on the job. From what little knowledge Zach has about this kind of thing, this hormone is usually used as stimulant. In the movies, they're often shown military doctors using this stuff to save soldiers. That said, it's not surprising that Dan, as a veteran, would prepare this kind of medicine for the team, but it's not. He shakes his head quickly and trying to readjust facial expressions. You seem to know exactly what's going to happen, Store Manager. I guess someone told me. The poor guy was desperately trying to keep a journal and didn't know someone had found out about him. Now, we'll have to ask someone else to show us the way. What are you talking about? Some little new discoveries. Anyway, keep it up. The store manager's nervous chatter suddenly stops. He looks at the sky, his face casts in shadow, mirroring the clouds above. Damn, it started already. Before his anytime react, a dense darkness has enveloped Zach. The sky is darker than you've ever seen it before. Clusters of heavy black clouds hover above them, and pulling up swirls and vortices as if they're about to devour everything. He can vaguely see a few wisps of color drifting through the dark clouds. Although they seem small, they are quickly becoming more immersed. The breeze carries with it the smell of something burning, and there is a slight hum in the distance, in the direction of the mountains. I've never seen such a weird cloud before. They're just clouds. Where's Nico? Absolutely everybody is being shoved into the schoolyard, so I guess they weren't able to get out here? Wait, this feeling, Manager? What symptoms do those patients experience after their visit to the history building? They were absolutely exhausted and felt very dizzy. You better get a move on. My stomach's churning. Let's head off to the schoolyard then. I can't move. Help. Help. Why? The schoolyard's panicked with students and adults, and there's a feeling of desperation in the air. Zach's feet have been working against him all the way, trying desperately to make a trip. At the same time, his heart beating rapidly against his chest, urging him to keep going. Even though his mind is telling him to slow down, his body is following orders. As always, he doesn't want to stay in this place a second longer. However, and unpleasant as experience is, the panicked people around him are worse off. It spread so quickly. Spread. Nothing. He finds Salil and Justin. They're huddled in the corner of the playground, doing their best to stay conscious. They look up in some weeks. There you are. Where's Yasmin? Salil doesn't answer his question first, but shakes her head weakly. We went to the auditorium, but police were there too. No luck. It's not like Yasmin. The student president and the student named Liam, they're gone. Justin begins to cough violently. The blood drains from his face. He gulps down air, but it doesn't seem to help. You could have saved yourself the trouble. Damn, why'd I have to let this happen now? Manager, what should we do? It's too late. We can't do anything for them. You see this color in the sky? They're spreading. It's spreading the same direction as the disease. It's the only matter of time for the entire school goes down. I'm afraid this is just a minor problem. Scarlet, take Nico and hide. Dan and I will handle the rest. You need to stay strong. And you practice karate, right? You two aren't normal, are you? Zach's mouth feels as if Nico has said something like that before. Manager, is there any medicine left? That's all I have. At the end of the day, how could I have known that you weren't bringing your own stash with you? Oh yeah, sorry about that. Leaving Yasmin might be dangerous. There's no point in staying here. Down, let's go. Wait a minute, the mountain's right here. I'll be right there. You have 10 seconds, time's running out. The skinny store manager is suddenly the most energetic person in the room. He pats Zach's shoulder, turns around, and runs back of the mountain. Zach can't help but sigh as he watches his figure gradually disappear. Is this the end? What do you think, fucking dumbass? Hey, don't call me stupid, I'm really not. He points to his chest and begins to fumble around his pockets. Dan's hiding all kinds of stuff from us. Why bring that up all of a sudden? Because Dan always carries medicine with him. If it's really medicine he gave the store manager, it'd be foolish enough not to get my share. At least, that's how much I can find in my pockets. Do you guys remember taking stuff? No, but this uncomfortable feeling is all too familiar. Did he share with Scarlet and Nico in the past? Probably. Anyway, take it quickly. Zack pulls medicine ball out of his pockets and stuffs the capsules in their mouths. Be gentle. How's that? Feeling better? It might take some time to digest. Yeah, same here, but I seem to be getting my strength back. Breathe steadily. If you're not breathing properly, it'll be even harder to get back on your feet. That's easy for you to say, you punk. Who do you think I am? Anyway, I'll go meet the store manager now. Wait. What did you find? They look like strange records, probably something to do with the body found in the auditorium. Thanks to those records, I remembered the medicine. I don't know which one of us have actually survived. Sure enough, I have to go to the mountains to find out what happened. But none of that matters. Zack turns around, only seeing other people falling unconscious around him, which makes him particularly cranky right now. Can't check his pockets until Starman reminded him. Dan prepared these items a year ago. Ignoring Nico and Scarlet, he turns around and walks away. While Nico's plan is to ask Starman for answers, Zack just comes to conclusions. All I know is this. Someone is definitely going to pay for this. The teenager resultantly clenches the fist that isn't his own. Oh my god. This is really killing me. I can't get rid of the total sense of disorientation. Climbing a fence at the back of the mountains takes me quite a while, and my clothes get caught on the spikes at the top. If I let myself fall, I drop heavily to the ground and immediately sprain my left ankle. This isn't too painful because the adrenaline surges through my veins, but the occasional bright pain from the injury keeps me running too quickly. The place has obviously been banned for some time, and there are leaves everywhere. Autumn's only just begun, but the trees are already eagerly shedding their old cover in the tumultuous rain. Yet, even with all the scattered leaves around, the forest is still lush green, full of evergreens. Such a lush landscape is far from normal at this time of year. Exuberance isn't always a good thing. The sound's getting louder. The buzzing has been floating around since we came close to the place that Stale was now. It sounds pleasantly like a flute playing in the wind. The sound alone might have been a treat if it weren't coming from all directions. A strange kind of laughter is mixed in with it and giving me goosebumps. I didn't feel this way at the foot of the mountain, and this growing weight on my chest makes me think that I must be getting closer to the heart of something. At least this means that I'll be getting close to the problem itself as well. As long as I look up, the hazy colors in the sky indicate a pathway that leads to the top of the mountain. There's a Japanese saying that goes, if you do not enter the tiger's cave, you will not catch its cub. With that in mind, I take a deep breath, trying to calm my aching lungs and continue on my way. The drifting echoes really do colossally further up. There's a pagoda on top of the mountain, which was kept in its original state when the academy was built. This is actually an ancestral tomb up there that has been passed down from generation to generation. I already know about this before I took on the investigation, but that's all of the information I have. The school doesn't seem to make much of it, after all. The pagoda isn't especially famous. If you look in the direction of the mountains from the school grounds, all you can see is the silhouette of the pagoda, which isn't very tall or conspicuous in the first place. I gather myself, avoiding various piles of leaves, and quickly climb the stairs that lead to the building. The small square has obviously not been properly maintained. Weeds and vines are crawling up the fence, and mushrooms are growing between the cracks in the tiles, transport me to the time at which mankind has long disappeared. In front of the pagoda, a crude stone platform holds a triangular metal pillar that resembles an altar. However, it's far removed from any altars that I've ever seen, both in size and shape. It seems pretty crude, with no seal engravings or any customary incense, making it sound like a cheap imitation. Although it doesn't look like a real thing, the stone platform must have been there for years, since the signs of old age are becoming prominent all over it. The three figures are standing at the edge of the stone platform, quietly proving to me that the fact that I haven't been in fact transported to a different time. Yasmin, why? She's alone. The two students are with her. Dan, you made it. I spot some movement up here, so I can't see what's going on. What are they doing here? God knows. But it certainly isn't anything normal. See? They look a little strange. Call that a little strange? All three of the bodies in front of me are faintly fluorescent. A strange color emanating from them. I can't see their face. It's almost as if something alive is spreading and stretching beneath their skin. It must be some kind of invisible presence. Despite being the smallest of them, Yasmin's presence is most pronounced. She is standing in front of the other two like a lead singer, her mouth opening and closing as if she were singing on stage. However, the sound coming out of her mouth isn't a human voice, but the eternal buzzing I've been hearing the whole time. Can a human really make that kind of noise? Goosebumps erupt all over my body at sound. Even so, though to remain responsive, it's as if the consciousness has been powered off. They don't even frown as fallen leaves pass in front of their faces. I've never seen this of any glow before. It doesn't look like any color I remember, nor like anything that sunlight can produce. It's beyond words. I can't but cringe as I shoot a sideways glance at Dan as he notices the shredding of a few rare drops of cold sweat. The serene and bizarre atmosphere is getting to him almost just as much as me. But it doesn't change what needs to be done. There's me all around. Should we just go up there and check it out? I whisper Dan's direction. He shakes his head, picks up a stone from his foot, and throws it at the stone platform. The flying object disappears in midair. What the? I can't but question my eyesight at this point. Aside from the fact that a stone has literally disappeared, I can't make heads or tails out of it. For a moment, Dan looks dumbfounded, but he quickly regains his seriousness, expression, and bellows at the spot at which the stone disappeared. Whoa, who's there? Show yourself. Ha! Looks like we have guests. A steady voice addresses us, speaking in a strange accent. It seems to come from the general direction Dan was aiming at, but I can't figure out which point exactly. Tis, so you're playing God now? I'm sorry to come greet you both, but as you can see, I'm quite busy at the moment. The voice drifts into the air, sounding laid back and comfortable. For some reason, Dan's reaction is stronger than I thought it would be. His expression is growing darker, and his clenched fists are shaking. I've never seen the veteran actually nervous, but he's clearly riled up right now. Is that so? So you're so busy, you'd probably mind if I shot a couple of random people, would you? Wait, don't. Before I can reach out to stop it, the black metal in Dan's hand is making a blasting sound. See, that's recognizable. All he has is paint bullets, and $1,000 could only buy one round of this expensive crap. Oh, it's this guy. I have to say that you're such a rude guest that I've actually started appreciating it. There seems to be no need to negotiate. No. Negotiate would be the right word for it. May not be the right word for it. I have to show sincerity, too. The air warps the colors as the colors fade from it. with a kind of squelching sound. Finally, the huge lump of flesh is fully visible, taking in every corner of my field of vision. Its muscles are stirring, ripples in its body look vague like eyes. Dull whispers spring out with tiny holes across the surface, open and close, taking in air. This is definitely something anyone can just make up. Such absurdities shouldn't exist in reality, but at this point I climbed over the wall that common sense built for me and faced dead on. No. I can feel a lump rise in my chest. What the hell is this thing? Why does it live here? Why does it exist? My past knowledge has betrayed me. Spitting on everything I've seen her up till now, I have a headache, and that just seems to want to rip my brain apart. Dancy's in better shape than me. His face is dark as he grips the shotgun tightly. He must not understand what he's up against here. I nearly burst out, yelling at him of all things that are going in my head right now. You don't look so good. Should I call a doctor for you? The voice continues. A tall, lean, middle-aged man emerges from the dark, wraith like a rider dismounted on a horse. He's wearing a decidedly out-of-date trench coat. I have no sense of fashion myself, so I really can't comment on others' outfits, but in this case, they make a statement. I reach your pocket and quietly flip over a power switch on my taser. We're all civilized here, so could you please stop doing whatever you're doing? I've been waiting for them for 3 whole years, and I'm not going to wait around any longer. Besides, there's always a time and place for everything. I've missed a lot, and God knows I'll live to see another time like this. 3 years? So you only gave artifacts to school? Huh? What are you talking about, manager? Dan's always surprised, but now's the time to explain the details to him. I stare at the stranger in front of me angrily, but he just shrugs lightly in sighs. Looks like someone could keep their fucking mouth shut. I thought trustworthiness was a virtue in your country. That depends on the subject. I don't think the principal has done anything wrong here at all. You may not think so, but while it might be obvious, I'm rather in a bad mood myself right now. So it shouldn't be too much to ask you to get some proper rest right now, right? As he says, the black mass lifts off the ground, emitting an eerie chirping sound. This has gone too far. Dan mutters as he takes a slow step back. The negotiation has failed, I suppose. I get the same feeling. Fine. Since you're brave enough to come to us, I don't suppose you're the kind of people who can be intimidated. Strange foreigner seemed frustrated. He gently straightens his hat and covers his eyes with his brain. A nasty chill creeps up my spine. Forgive me. Huh? A black wave envelops my vision. Contrary to its normal size, the flashing mess is so quick that I can't keep track of its movements. Suddenly, the shadow is right in front of me. Its loud screeching, torturing my eardrums. I have enough room to raise a hand and protect myself, let alone dodge the creature. I'm frozen in place. My right hand tangled up inside my jacket. Unable to draw a weapon. In a moment, Dan knocks me aside. His eyes murderous. The black mass doesn't hesitate and continues to grow, as if it doesn't mind who attacks it. I close my eyes, waiting for the impact. I don't want to see my companion's invisible end. Huh? However, the sound I hear next is very different than expected. How's it going? All good? Dan's grin croaked at me. He stands in front of me, casting me into a shadow. The shotgun's disappeared from the tent bag at his feet. No, it hasn't disappeared. It's just in a different place. A tattered piece of cloth hanging from the black mess. It looks like it was once that tent bag, too. A creature is holding onto it like a shield. But that isn't the only thing that's embedded in its flesh. A metal piece of blue paint is visible between the rags. It's bent over with a great force and spewing large amounts of smoke in the air. And ice cold breeze is blowing from my direction of the creature. Well, somebody's son did his homework. I just used whatever's available. Dan stares at the man. The creature next to him is still trying to move, but is so slow that Maya just woke from hibernation. Melbarian's body is making a stiff, creaking sound. The whole scene looks like an old school horror movie. Did you use a cooling agent? Liquid nitrogen. I knew it'd come in handy. Dan's the one who answered him. Nico and Scarlet emerged from the trees. Each of them is holding up a metal air canister, threateningly, ready to toss another one should they need her eyes. Luckily, we've got so much of it. The school's chemistry lab is 1,000,000 times better than the one in our high school. Huh? Something about her statement strikes me as odd, but now's the time to think about that. How did you know it'd be here? We all have our ways of doing things, Manager. This level of probation wasn't even necessary to figure out what was going on. At the auditorium, we were told that the victim entered the room with another person. As of yet, the police haven't been able to look at that person. It was a pretty bright scene over there. After seeing the way the guy died, we decided we had to figure out a way to deal with the mysterious culprit who came out and left a trace. I'm sorry, Manager. We didn't know it was going to attack, so we had to wait for it to make its first move. We got lucky. No one used to carry around that tank bag all the time. It would have been necessary to carry the shotgun on its own, but if our enemy thought it was a simple disguise for our weapons, and the liquid nitrogen tank would have remained concealed. Could it be that he was hiding it to avoid revealing his plan to me? I wonder. Regardless, he figured out how to deal with the monster, so that might be a good opportunity. I pulled my taser and aimed at the corner. I'm sorry, I think we'll get this over with if your bodyguard wakes up. How awful. Be careful not to electrocute yourself with that thing. I'm sure we can all reach an understanding here. That's good up to you. Let the kids go. I'm sorry, you seem to have misunderstood something. I wouldn't call them kids. Don't say we didn't warn you. Dan kicks the earth like a charged bull and runs his opponent to the side. Meanwhile, Scarlet tosses cylinders at the stiff mass of flash on the ground. He cancels the ground in two and begin to emit white clouds of gas. White mist engulfs the black heap of flesh. All you can see is a blurred shadow struggling haphazardly. Its movements getting slower and slower. The situation's been far away from us. Dan may not have been able to face our opponent on his own, but the arrival of Scarlet and Nico has turned out into a perfect offensive strategy. Without thinking, I pulled the trigger of the taser. The recoil is stronger than I expected, but the weapon is effective. Plumes of smoke are clouding everyone's vision. With three people attacking at the same time, the enemy won't realize what my true intentions are. I'm afraid high electrical wouldn't be enough against a monster of that size. I'm hesitant to risk one of the others in chaos. So, they aren't the ones to get aimed at. They are more worthy targets in the field for me to put this gun to good use. Nora has Yasmin. If I can stop her now, we'll have enough time to question her afterwards. A metal marker is propelled into the air and dragging a slender cable towards target. I can already smell the success of my sneak attack. Even so, the foreigner at the center of it all doesn't move an inch. I bet I didn't even harm a single hair in Yasmin when I tried to shoot her. Instead, something tall stepped out right in front of her at the very last moment. Electric shocks don't show mercy, but the opponent's thick skin seems to be naturally resistant to damage. It has sturdy limbs and a large, bloody mouth. Its body is covered in folds. In form alone, it resembles a great ape, but the gorilla, which is known for its robustness, didn't have that kind of stature or strength. Although it's a humanoid shape, its face looks like that of a deep-sea creature without any eyes. No environment on Earth would be home to such a creature, and now that I'm beginning to understand why those strange eyewitness accounts are identified wild forest creatures that came from. However, this creature is clearly obeying some sort of command. It grunts and rips apart the cable and rips the cable from the taser, puffing out its chest at me. I throw it sideways and glance at Dan. However, the sight that greets me is more disorienting than witnessing yet another supernatural creature. You're still determined this time around? Shut up. The two equal large figures are grappling each other. Neither of them are showing any sign of relenting. Yeah, and this guy you trust, shooting at show without even blinking? Damn. No matter how times I go through this, he's still a selfish person. You must know what I'm talking about. Shut up. What's going on? Why are there two Dans? Sorry, I've always believed that victory comes through preparation. So, I got a couple more hands on board. That should be enough, right? Once again, I'm trying to wrap my head around the new situation. My point doesn't hesitate. He takes a huge step forward, pushing everyone away from the man in the trench coat and the black mass. The sound of shoes scraping against the ground is unpleasant. Even if Dan's best efforts, there doesn't seem a way for him to injure his opponent, despite his appearances. Even I can tell that there is an essential difference between the strength of these two. I'm so glad you're willing to help, but wasn't the deal to hide yourself until the time was right? Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I still owe this face beating. You. Why? Why? This guy already killed Yasmin once. You expect me to let that happen again? It's just a taser, isn't it? Taser? It's much more than a taser when you use it on a kid with a heart condition. Again and again. The other Dan suddenly falls back a little, catches his opponent off guard before he lunges forward. He punches his other self in the stomach, causes his opponent to fall to his knees. I can practically feel his pain from a distance. Dan, are you okay? Which one is you asking? Dan throws me against the trunk of the tree behind me. I can feel the air being knocked out of me. I have my mouth to make a sound. My vocal cords can't manage more than a few futile hisses. Not only that, but the excruciating pain in the back tells me the impact caused more than a little damage. My clothes are soaked, and my back feels sticky and warm. The slightest tug makes me feel like I'm ripping my skin apart. I break out in a cold sweat. My breathing is labored, and it takes me a couple seconds to realize that I've been run through by a branch. Manager? Are you okay? I hear alarmed voices of Scarlet and Nico somewhere behind me. They must have run up to me at some point, because they are doing their best to hold me in place against a tree. I should be happy that they're alright, but this is an easy thing to do in my current situation. You're obviously blind if you ask someone if they're alright in this kind of situation. Stop. Get away from him. Dan turns up in front of us, shielding us with his body as he pulls a dagger from his sheath. The precious dagger he's been hiding in his belt for years. It's large enough to actually kill somebody. What if I try to get closer? Enough is enough, my friend. I wouldn't risk your safety. That's because I'm part of your plan, right? I'm here, but honestly, after seeing that these people's stupid faces, I really don't care what happens to me. I see. But you know, unlike the other two, the thing is, the thing doesn't listen to me that much. Almost as soon as I utter his words, the buzzing that has surrounded him suddenly disappears, leaving a sharp echo in my ears. Then, color begins to emerge everywhere. I've never seen a picture like this before. It's invaded the world. From form or smell, just being. No matter what angle I look at it from, its appearance stays the same, making me wonder if my eyes are playing tricks on me. It looks cold, but it's giving off an invisible heat. After a few seconds of gazing in my direction, a burning sensation begins to creep up my face. What is this? This is the question I have difficulty answering clearly to you. The man in a trench coat slowly approaches the cluster of color that is hovering above the stone platform. The sickening whispers around are slowly fading, as if to indicate that it was stabilizing. When I found it, it was just a fragile germ, not half as dangerous as reported to believe. Believe it or not, Even when I tried to feed to myself, I wasn't successful. Even so, we cannot truly understand this being. It has transcended time and space, and has recorded as a plague through history. Its appearance has always been accompanied by the death of the environment around it, and even the destruction of whole cities. But that is not what it is. It is energy. It's the very formula for the universe. The planet is simply too small and barren for it, which is why it has to draw energy from everything around it. We are the ones who should be ashamed. So, where'd you summon it from? Summon? No, I wouldn't presume to be so strong. It just so happens that we both get what we want this way. In fact, it appeared at various points in time, but there weren't many places where it could have established a foothold. It just couldn't find the right one. I simply used a little trick to move it from that school, and then waited patiently for it to stabilize. Look at how much energy it has now, after being nourished by all this green space for 3 years. Although, none has anything to do with me. You should be glad you came to this point in time. Otherwise, I couldn't guarantee that it wouldn't be you who gets drained. The chances of it getting a germ like this one on our planet are slim to none. Even I have no knowledge about it, other than ancient texts that describe it. He seems to be in a pretty chatty mood right now. What are you doing with it? What does it do? Well, let me show you. It feels like my body rate is suddenly tripled, and I'm boiling inside. Blood rushes to my head, hot as lava. A sudden rumbling noise is building in my head, throwing me completely off balance. A moment later, my vision begins to blur. It feels like the last moment before utter unconsciousness, but despite my having lost control of my body, I'm still completely conscious. I barely notice the muffled sound of my body hitting the ground through the haze of dizziness in my head. What's happening? Didn't I tell you? It draws energy from everything around it. You should know what I mean by now. Through the darkness, I feel like someone picking up from the ground, gently propping me against a tree trunk. A foreigner's voice appears very close to my ear, and he continues to talk as if he were somewhere else. It's in its final stages for metamorphosis. It devours the entire ecosystem for miles around until there's not a single drop of energy left. I've heard that there have been traces around the world, but I never knew if the rumors are true or not. Anyway, I tried this once 3 years ago. It was spectacular. Metamorphosis. Yes, when it reaches the ground, when its grand final form, it will soon complete its metamorphosis. After today, there'll probably be a blade of grass growing anywhere. Why does it have to be like this? Your first question is why? What if I said I simply need everyone to die in despair? All over Torah Memorial, all over the city, people will watch the ominous means begin to descend above their heads, like in the book of Revelation. They may not know what their color means, but that will not matter. They will feel as powerless as you do, losing control of their own body. They will have trouble breathing and won't even have the strength to close their eyes. They will watch as those around them die from dehydration, and there will be absolutely nothing they can do about it. Some people may not try to find out what happened, but I'm afraid that there are too many people as smart as you. And even if they did, what could they do to me? Only foolish will feel fear, and the wise become more and more desperate. It has to happen this way, or the rest of the ritual cannot be fulfilled. Sounds like merely torturing us to death won't satisfy you? It is just a part of the offering. If there were another way to do it, I would have been happy to do so, but in the end, I'm still a novice at wielding fear and despair. Just about old enough to knock on the door of such a great being. He looks from his hat, revealing a patch of gray hair. Although, judging by his face, he looks to be in his 30s. The line between his eyebrows cannot be concealed any longer. It's funny how people build civilizations, forgetting how much their ancestors were in awe of great beings who wouldn't cast our planet so much as a second glance. We have fallen shame through humanity's foolish deeds. But for those greater beings, time is child's play. All that matters is circumstance and method. By creating a time in fear and awe again, we will finally be in a position to pray to them again. As if these past 20 centuries have never existed. Everything goes silent for a moment. Then he takes a deep breath, as if a great weight has been lifted off his shoulders, and he pulls out a brass bell the size of a fist from his pocket. As for what will happen, let me show you. The sky is darkening, but with the chime of that bell, the colors floating through the air stretch themselves out again, rhythmically moving back and forth. I can feel some kind of force overhead. Although everything is silent, my brain takes the liberty of imagining crunching sounds. The space seems so tightly compressed up ahead, and that is causing unbearable pressure on the eyes and stomach. The crunching grows stronger, but the strange burden sensation is gradually disappearing. In contrast, the trees that are around us are beginning to shake. Their branches are growing alarming at this rate, while their leaves dance in the wind, like wanderers who know their days are numbered. It must be a cloudy day, and one must venture to the highest point. Otherwise, one will not be able to communicate with them. Those are the rules people compiled back then, but I've gathered that this is because these were the circumstances under which someone first came in contact with these beings. That's part of the ritual. And although I couldn't understand this true meaning and didn't have enough literature to learn about it, my instinct told me that this was something bound to happen in the situation. Unfortunately, it only remembers this very moment, which is what makes the conditions so harsh. The good news is that there is always a way to make it happen if you have enough capital. Dark clouds, no thunder, no wind. Everything is becoming more distorted and blurred by the second. So you see, they will be coming soon. I suddenly experienced something completely unprecedented. In this moment, the air is an ocean. My platonic tiny body is crawling on the ocean floor. And there's a whale swimming overhead. There's no reason to question its existence. Everything is as it should be. My hands and feet are cold, and my blood is dancing in my veins. At this moment, I feel completely connected to the hundreds and thousands of lives around me. There is no distinction between human beings and animals, apart from their shared fear of ignorance. He's not lying. It's coming soon. Heed my call, King of Infinite Void, Star Shifter, Foundation of the Universe, Creator of Suffering, Conqueror of Terror, Destroyer, Sun and the Void of Chaos, Guardian of the Abyss, God of Darkness, Lord Dimensions, Wisest of Beings, Keeper of Secrets, Lord of the Labyrinth, Master Perspective, Night Wanderer, Master of the Gate, the Almighty and Eternal Lord of the Beginning. Amira Twaki, Asasoki, Yosmuth Nafahen, your servant calls to you. Something follows in its eyes, and it's the order of the world is tripped over its edge. From way above this canopy of darkness, it casts its gaze upon the earth. I feel as if a stream of silver is passing through the sky, but this doesn't feel coming from what I'm seeing with my own eyes. It must be a clouded day, and well, must venture the highest point. That restriction may indeed have its reasons. Sunlight is like blasphemy for it, and a mass of humans isn't any more important than some cricket without a lighthouse to guide it on its way here. Our entire planet is but a speck of dust that passes by. There is no way to observe, no way to name, nor remember. Even if I can close my eyelids, the vastness of this presence is so deeply ingrained in my mind that I have nowhere to hide. Even today, I experience things in my life that I've never experienced before, and now I realize my precious experiences aren't worth mentioning at all. It washes away my pain and struggles within me in one breath, and then puts even greater fears in my head. It isn't really worth the trip to the city, but the overall performance has to be checked, and we need to make sure we have the right tools. The company's main focus is to ensure successful sales of new product. It will be the newest addition to the product lineup. That's a good place to start. The first step is to make sure that the new system will be able to meet demands of the market. Ah, I see. When you understand the picture that's being painted, sometimes insanity is the only option. He's blurring himself. His eyes are looking at the sky. He has dropped the bronze bell, and the scroll has long since disappeared. It's okay to feel this way. I have done the same thing twice, so once more isn't a big deal for me. For you, the only difference is whether you'll meet your end sooner rather than later. When will it be over, my friend? if you count on Tora Memorial right now, the Mandela 2 years ago, then all that's left is that great other fishing village that you mentioned, and a Christmas celebration in the other city a year from now. In that case, let's go next year. Are you sure they wrote a plan 1,000 years ago? Even if you say everything seems to have planted, are you sure those ancients have enough knowledge to access the great ritual? It has nothing to do with our knowledge. The most important people are the more blind faith they have. They have enough manpower, and they could read and write. More complicated rituals might have been a bit much, but they are surely able to perform simple animal sacrifices to a pathway for that being in the depths of the universe. Whatever you say, let's go. This dance is know a lot more than I thought I did. He saunters over the two students on the stone platform and holds them tightly. None of us could have seen what happens next. An unexpected flash of light blinds me as their shapes turn into a glowing vortex color. It feels as if an illusion has enveloped the world. I didn't expect a Maratoire to take on this form. To my knowledge, he has always described as a human figure. A few years ago, I first smashed this guy into pieces, and then he became this. He seems to have merged with some unlucky ball of energy that just happens to be passing by. I hope he isn't holding a grudge right now. You found a way how to use it? It's just a side effect that occurs when you uncover the veil. Crazy, really. You must have had some damn good karma. Hey, your expertise is beginning to sound interesting. This isn't the right time. It was a big mistake trying to kill this thing in the first place. I thought following these guys would solve a lot of problems, but it turns out, this cold-blooded guy is much worse than these rational beings. It looks like I stepped right in your personal affairs. You don't really care, do you? Forget it. Party up. The giant man steps in the light of the station, gesturing to his companion. The balloon covers the gulf Dance's body as he strides closer to the colored vortex in the center of it. He steps right to it and disappears. But his companion does not follow him right away. Despite the fine beads of sweat already dripping down from his forehead, he approaches me and taps my shoulder. As you can see, the odds in your favor. But it's not like there are other options. Want to join us? What? As I said, not many people are intelligent and intuitive as you are, the fact that you managed to find your way here in less than 2 days is testament to your good instincts. It takes more than just brute knowledge to create enough events like this in a modern city. Ancient times are fine, but the city's radio environment is so complex that it's very difficult to do everything. You might not get in your way right now, but I'm sure rituals would be much more elaborate and go smoother if you have a helping hand like yours. Now that you have no way out, why not consider a more constructive future? So you are planning to do something even more horrible? Yeah, it depends what you think about it. The fact that you chose to investigate this place, even after a series of incidents, shows that you're still valuable to the lives of those around you. All I can tell you is simply my plans will be taken, and the only way you'll keep them alive is to help me succeed in my plans. Otherwise, a small place like this, won't be the only thing that's in danger. How about it? I think you understand what I'm saying. I do understand. That's why I can't agree with it. What you did here is just a peek into what you're gonna do to 3 other places, right? How can you perform a ceremony of this scale and still say that everything will be fine? So what do you think? There's nothing more to say. After a long moment of silence, he seems to make a decision. You will meet your end here. With his final declaration, he turns around and steps in the vortex after Dan. The pressure in the air finally eases up, and the flow of color begins to slow down. The sky, however, does not change, and the huge presence keeps on watching from above, growing ever more imposing. He began the ritual, but he doesn't bring it to an end. The moment is still building, and since the giant shadows appeared above us, the future is pointing firmly in the direction of despair. However, the most critical threat moment isn't coming from overhead. A being that's about to starve to death doesn't care if it has a terminal illness. The effects of ignition are fading, and the creature is twisting around slowly, creaking and gorging cracks into the ground. It seems like a balloon on the verge of bursting. It could evolve into the worst possible scenario at this moment. The being has been around for such a long time, considering the school is his backyard. My chest starts to grow heavier from the puncture wound. Breathing is getting more and more difficult, which tells me that there's no way I could even drag a body away from this situation right now. Right now, the only chance to get away from here is everything just a gamble? I cautiously walk over to Nico and try to pull her up. She makes some vague noises, but her body shows no signs of obeying her conscious command. This makes lifting her up very difficult, but I have to drag her across the ground for a good 10 meters. The cold's worse than I expected, as I pull an ice cylinder away from her, pulling with it pieces of skin. As I do so, I ease Nico into the swirl's colors. Her shape melts into the color and disappears completely. It seems to have worked, so I wipe salt in my face and turn towards Scarlet. Scarlet may be quite thin, but Nico's weight is enough compared to hers. I put her arm on my shoulder and inch her towards the destination. Next is Dan, who weighs almost as much as our two combined. The effort tugs at my wound. The ache in my throat is getting worse as the air in my lungs is becoming more and more precious. My muscles are becoming less obedient as they strike across my bones. I shiver in spite of myself. However, I eventually bite the bullet and finish the trip. The black heap of flesh watches as I move 3 bodies into the unknown vortex. I can feel its eyes on me, burning with fury. I'm sorry. Woken up by the movement, Dan lifts his head. He sounded exhausted. Mentally more than physically. Cut the crap and stay put. I pat him on the shoulder and turn around. Okay, just one more. Yes was responsive, as if deep sleep her brow furrowed. I still don't know exactly what happened to her, but whatever it is, it shouldn't have happened to such a small child. It sparks my last ounce of perseverance. Rest is up to. Ultimately, perseverance can't save this body. I can't catch my breath time. My left leg goes as limp as it's suddenly unplugged. My brain is desperately trying to reassure me that I'll recover any second now, but that time never comes. I fall on my knees, sigh gasping. The honest help, but his condition isn't any better than mine. The distance of 10 meters suddenly seems like a huge rift. This isn't over yet. The shadow eventually shakes off the cold and stretches itself out again. It lets out an ear-splitting roar and collects itself into a ball. With the strange tearing sound, the mountain of flesh flies up over my head and comes down one swoop. It's over. I close my eyes as I wait for death to come. A ray of electricity cuts through the darkness. Without warning, the creature in front of me suddenly convulses violently. It whines and flinches, its entire body shaking. It's clearly on guard, but it isn't targeting me anymore. Why don't you give up already? Through the confusion, I can hear a familiar voice. Yasmin? I turn my head in the direction of the voice, but I can't see her small figure anywhere. A creature with an odd triangle shape is squirming near the vortex. Its surface is black, and a pair of pincers are protruding from its body on elongated arms. The third arm has a piece of metal placed attached to its pincer. It's pretty compact in structure and almost looks like some kind of instrument. It waves several tentacles at me, making a weird metallic noise. Although it looks intimidating, its presence doesn't scare me. Instead, I feel released somehow. It shoots into the blaze and the metal device in its arm, repelling the enemy that's trying to approach it. No matter how vicious the black mass looks, its flesh isn't immune to the blind rays. Pastime? Not much. Your fear's too big. Only this way. Directly. Come. It shoots further beams while speaking a language I can't understand. The flow of electric beams seems to be picking up speed, split out like a waterfall. The air begins to heat and distort in unmanageable ways, but the creature is showing no signs of backing down. The triangle-shaped being doesn't make a sound as it continues its onslaught towards the enemy, but one of its tentacles points in the direction of swirling vortex color. He has the same idea I did. Everything's just a gamble. I try to push myself to my knees and finish the last part of my journey. The lost blood has drained me of most of my physical energy. I can't even breathe properly due to the pain in my lungs. The consequences of my lack of exercise are manifesting themselves in my arms and legs. Come on, hell, I'm almost there. The black mass might have a large body, but doesn't mean a large target area for the attack, and its flesh finally begins to crumble. It's emitting an astonishing amount of smoke, shredding its brittle, crumbling parts as fast as it can, trembling on the ground as it utters strange sounds like tiny curses. But the small victory comes at a cost. After a few seconds of immersive shooting, the metal device attached to the triangular beam is glowing red. Its structure is disintegrating, the different components whirling so fast that the arcs of electricity are leaking from the surface. The triangle creature is bending and twitching under the pressure of electricity, several holes in its body leaking brownish-greenish liquid. The air is filled with the stench of burning, and a stench of rotting plants. Go in. Don't hesitate. Are you okay? Go in. It seems to have reached its limit as it mechanically repeats the words. Clearly, someone's inflicted pain on it. The triangular creature has lost its weapon, along with half the tentacle. The fleshy monster is shaking its growl more intense, as it lets out a terrible cry, and as its enemy moves towards it. The mass of flesh is writhing under the damage it's taken. The situation is out of my hands. Meanwhile, the triangular creature is still holding up one of its main tentacles, firmly pointing at the glowing vortex behind it. The swirled colors nearly come to a halt, but I have no idea what might happen next. Yes, I know. For some reason, my eyes are still a little wet as I hug Yasmin tightly, gritting my teeth as I move towards our final destination. My legs failing once again. Black flesh has crept on us unnoticed and has wound its way around Yasmin's ankles like a chain, keep her in place. It's a really intelligent creature. Get off her. Out of our way. We're clearly only 2 steps away from ending this, but fate has no intention of letting me off the hook. But my desperation is as strong as its fervor. The Black Surge reaches for a final victory. Hey, I want to help too. Eh? I mean, there's nothing for me to read here. It's just blank squares. Color finally fills every corner of my mind. All you as zombies reach the bad end of Chapter 5. Fana Remixed successfully completed Chapter 5. Well, we completed Chapter 5, so that's gonna be this part of the playthrough, and I guess we'll finish on with the epilogue. Because I assume that's what this is gonna be in the next part. Actually, let me check the chance real quick here. Yeah, those are just for completing the chapters, nothing with a bad ending. The other ones are secrets, so I wonder if failing gives you an achievement? It might. But anyways, that's gonna do it for this episode of Hermitage here. My voice is absolutely killed, so we'll see when I do the next one. I still have a few episodes actually uploaded to YouTube, so who knows when this playthrough actually come out. And for reference, this is December 7th, so when you're seeing this next year, sometime in February, it took me 2 months to make a thumbnail and actually upload this video to YouTube. But yeah, that's it for this episode of Hermitage here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, peace.